So 3 songs from my favourites, then we're moving on to the middle wheel, middle ring. This is nothing like anything I would normally listen to.
Let me tell you a story about a book.
Sometimes we come to a town.
Marilyn Manson. So this is classed as being like My Favourites by Deezer, apparently. Marilyn Manson, blimey. So I don't have any music like this at all in my favourites. So while I accept that if these songs were on the outer ring, they would be in the same mood but nothing like my favourites, because they're in the middle ring, they should be of the same mood, they should be of the same mood and actually like my favourites, but these aren't anything like the sort of music I normally listen to. How am I supposed to listen to this when I've got kids here? You can't put songs on like this. So now we're saying that Deezer have run out of songs that are like my favourites. This is in theory, this is what Lyle Clark is telling me. Deezer has run out of songs that are like my favourites, so it's not playing the middle ring, it's now going to the outer ring. And these are songs that aren't like my favourites, but are of the same mood. But they sound very similar to the ones they thought were like my favourites. So what Lyle Clark has told me is it will play the songs from my favourites until they run out of that particular mood. So the mood I selected, according to Lyle Clark, there would be 3 songs that are classed from my favourites as being within that mood. So it's played those 3 songs, then it's moved on to the middle ring, which it should stay on almost indefinitely, because it should be able to play songs from Deezer that are like my collection but are of the same mood. Now, I would question whether the songs it was playing are actually like my favourites, but that's a separate argument. That's that's for Deezer to explain, I assume, because I assume they're the ones that are categorising the songs. But the point is, it shouldn't move from the middle ring to the outer ring if I've started off with the inner ring, because it's supposed to play songs that are either my collection, Lyle Clark says, or like my collection. Now, that isn't what is advertised, and that isn't the basis on which I was sold this equipment. That isn't what the Marylebone store believed was how it worked, until basically I've told them that that's what Lyle Clark says. They've been selling this equipment on the basis that it works as it's advertised, which is, if you select the inner ring, a certain mood, it will play all your songs in that collection, all the songs in your collection that are classed as being that mood, and then it will carry on playing songs in your collection, from your collection, but moving up or down a mood. So it's very, very similar to the mood you selected, but it's still your collection. The overriding thing is that it's your collection. That is how the equipment was sold to me. That is how the Marylebone store believed it worked until I told them differently. That is how the engineers that visited, I've had numerous engineers come, that's how they all thought it worked, which is why we've had all this rigmarole over the last 8 or 9 weeks, where I've actually had the unit changed. I've had several engineers come to try and find out what the problem is, only to find out from Lyle Clark that actually there apparently isn't a problem, and the equipment is not designed to work in the way it's advertised. But that said, even what Lyle Clark says in terms of how he thinks it should work isn't what happens, as you can see, because it jumps to the outer ring after a certain number of middle ring songs have played, which just doesn't make sense.